What are you the 1% of? According to my smartwatch, I'm in the top 1% of step count in the past 7 days. Wild and also boring. I am the 7th generation in my family with the same name. At the end of my name I legally have a VI. Every generation of my family going back to the 1700s has only one male and we all have the same name. I know a guy William James, last name X. 10 generations and he said they all went by a different name. Bill, Jim, etc. I figured I have to be in the top 1% of deaf guitar players worldwide. I heard completely fine for like 25 years and spent 19 years of that to practice guitar playing. Been legally deaf for 3 years now and still can play well, muscle memory. I kinda want to start a band called Deaf Metal or something. You have to watch The Sound of Metal. It is a movie about a drummer who starts to lose his hearing. Actually a great movie on its own right, but you would get it more than most would. Man, Deaf Metal would be a great name. Probably less than 1%. But I'm sucrose and fructose intolerant. No fruit, candy, ice cream, even some veggies for me. Now that is very rare. Friend. I have fructose malabsorption and am lactose, soy, almond, and egg intolerant. I was just telling my so that I have the very mild superpower of being able to identify rogue onion in my meals by the feel of it against my teeth without actually chewing it. I am a pilot. In the USA about 0.01% of the population has a pilot's license. I am also an amputee, which in the USA is about 1% of the population. Not sure what percent of the populace are amputee pilots, but it's got to be pretty small. That would be 0.0001%. Got my wisdom teeth pulled. One side grew back over a year from a fragment left. Dentist published an article about it and was so happy. I was not with another oral surgery. My mom had her wisdom teeth pulled out. And they all grew back again. Dentist never seen anything like it, lol. Alpha-gal allergy. I was bitten by a lone star tick and now I'm allergic to any kind of mammal meat. Most cases last between 6 to 8 months. Mine appears to be permanent after a decade. I can't even eat something that's been prepped cooked on the same surface as beef or pork in restaurants. Wait, staff isn't too fond of me, lol. My mom has this. She got it in the 1980s and her doctor insisted she was crazy because nobody's allergic to meat. When the alpha-gal research hit a few years back, she felt so vindicated. I'm in the 1% for people with narcolepsy. I believe it's 0.5% of America and 0.4% for the world. I have narcolepsy too. I am constantly disappointing people by not randomly falling asleep like in the movies though. My daughter was the first in Canada to have her cord blood harvested for stem cells. They were to be used for a bone marrow transplant for her brother. As a side note, my son was diagnosed with what was then called JCML, a child leukemia occurring in about 0.001% of all childhood leukemias. The survival rate I believe was in the 1 percentile range. This is fascinating. I hope everyone was okay. I am allergic to temperature extremes. Taking a hot shower or touching an ice cube will give me hives. I have cholinergic urticaria. So anytime my body temp goes up I break out in hives. Room temp showers for me. Me too. It's worse in the summer going from AC to Texas heat. I take a prescription antihistamine every day to counteract. The fun thing of jumping in the pool from the hot tub that kids do sent me into anaphylaxis shock. Fun times. I can spin on my ass really fast, like probably around 20 full rotations in one go. I start standing up. Then I put my left hand on the ground and I throw my right leg towards my left. Finally I retract my legs and put my hands on my knees and I go spinning like a motherfucking Beyblade. I've been doing this since I was 3 or 4. Yo, I thought that said you spin your ass and I was horrified at the image of someone fucking helicopter twerking. Okay, so now we just need someone else to do this with you in a little ring and whoever knocks the other one out of spin is the winner. Type 1 diabetes. It's a shit club. We can't even have cookies unless everyone brought their insulin. There are zero benefits in this club. Been looking for this comment. It's like 0.5% or something. I don't think I've ever met another type 1 diabetic in person. It's the worst club. Not that I've looked it up, but I've run over a fish in my car. Whenever I tell the story, no one has heard anything like it. I've seen a video of salmon trying to swim over a partially flooded road. Was it like that? I do it every year. I live near a period lake and it dries up during the summer because it has massive cave systems underneath and it drains through huge holes in the ground when it rains less. Cue tons of fish on roads on the lake bed. Most of my family are fishermen, so we spend a lot of time moving fish from the draining areas into the permanent parts to help keep the population healthy. We're talking thousands of fish. Inadvertently you drive over some. I guess that puts me in the 0.01%, haha. I can swallow my tongue. Or rather put my whole tongue in the hole to my nose, where the nose and mouth come together. Apparently my ear doctor said that none of her colleagues believed her when she said she had a patient that could do that, so I had to do it while she was filming, so she could prove them wrong. Hilarious to have my doctor shove her iPhone in my mouth. Real question, I immediately think about the tongue getting stuck and choking. Is this a fear of yours when you stick your tongue all the way back? I guess I'm in the 1% of only having 3 lower front teeth. When I was getting braces I had already known I only had 3 teeth down there, but I'd assumed there was just 1 chilling in my gums. When the orthodontist took x-rays though, he asked me about it and said it was a birth defect. The orthodontist laughed in my face when I asked for my disabled parking pass. Mayo. I have AB blood, which is found in less than 1% of the population. Came here for this. My sister and I both have AB. Plus, she is a blue-eyed red-haired girl, which makes her even more unique. Spades, I am actually in the top 0.6% and used to be number 1 out of 43,000 players. So I'm like one of the top billionaires in the world but in spades skills, so that earns me about up $0. Spades is like sex, if you don't have a good partner you better have a good hand. Top 0.005% of Simon and Garfunkel listeners on Spotify last year. I have an autoimmune disease that's so rare nobody knows what it is. Genetic testing is currently underway to see if I have a recently discovered genetic defect that about 10 people have been diagnosed with. Edit. I appreciate all the people attempting to give me a diagnosis in the comments. But I think 6 years and more specialists than I can count on one hand might know a little more about what's going on than some strangers on the internet. Edit 2. I've got some links to some information on what I'm currently waiting to find out if I have. It's called Unported Kickers, right? And it was named by one of the first people diagnosed with it. The study and the link to a story about its discovery and naming. I have bad news for you. You got a very rare disease. How rare? You pick the name. When Spotify released listening statistics at the end of 2020, I was on the top 1% of Weird Al Yankovic listeners. Seeing this reminds me of this guy I dated 10 years ago. He came over for a family dinner at my cabin and asked if he could play dinner music. We always had classical music playing when we had dinner there, and so my family said sure. Why not? And he played Weird Al Yankovic for the whole dinner. At one point my grandpa just went, "What the fuck are we listening to?" That's certainly something to be proud of. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more Reddit videos.